First things first, congratulations, Dick Vermeil. For real.
You want Philly?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it.
What's going on, you guys? It's your boy Joe Castro, aka Philly Fresco, and it is Philly the podcast. So today we're gonna talk a little bit about a little bit. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna talk a little bit about a little bit. I want to, first off, start off by saying congratulations to Dick Vermeil becoming a Hall of Famer and going in as a Philadelphia Eagle. It's always beautiful. His speech was amazing. It was before my time, I'll be 100% honest, but I've done my research, I've done my homework, and he is a guy that I have the utmost respect for, so congratulations to him. Now, I want to talk, if you follow me on Twitter, you probably seen my list already, but I want to talk about the three guys who I think stock has risen the most over this training camp. Now, before we do that, be sure to hit that like, hit that subscribe, join that family. We are on the road to 4K, and we would love for you guys to join that ride. It's been a fun ride so far. We got snacks and stuff, so definitely come on over here and join the ride. But let's get right into it, man. So three people that I think that their stock has risen over this training camp. I'm going to start with number three. And number three is somebody that I've brought up last time. I brought him up in my 2-minute warning, and I wanted to kind of talk about it a little bit. It's going to be Jalen Reagar. Look, at the end of the day, he is a guy that we all have our eyes on, whether for good or bad, better or worse. However you look at it, you probably are looking at Reagar and trying to figure out what the heck is going on. He came in, he looked yoked, right? He looked yoked. He looked like he was ready to knock some people out, and he's played well. I believe, not counting today's training camp, but he went into today's training camp with the most scores throughout training camp. So, look, I'm not saying that, he's going to be our number one wide receiver. I'm not saying that he's going to go out there and have a season to end all seasons. I'm just saying that he has definitely, rised his stock. Maybe even if it's not for the Philadelphia Eagles, I think that him having a decent training camp and possibly having a good preseason will bode well for him in his career. I think that if he is to be cut by the Philadelphia Eagles or to put back on that trade bait, maybe somebody says, look, we'll give up a 7th, we'll give up a 6th and see what we can do with this guy. It's all about him showing and proving that he has talent and that he deserves to be in the NFL. So I have no ill will towards him. Obviously, it's been 2 rough seasons for the Philadelphia Eagles fans, but he's been looking good throughout this training camp. We'll see where that translates. We'll see if that translates and even to a roster spot. But and then we go to number 2. Number 2 kind of is going to be fighting against number 3, and I put him at number 2 for a reason, and that's going to be Britton Covey. Everything that I've heard from Britton Covey, everything that I've spoken to Britton Covey on a couple of occasions. We've spoken about possibly getting him on this channel. So I've talked to him, and everything that people tell me, and having that experience of just having to be able to speak to him, he seems like a very smart young man, a very well put together young man, like he has his head on his shoulders. And then you add that to that, I've heard that he is an absolute beast when it comes to route running. He's just so precise, so quick in and out of his cuts that it's very fun to watch. This is what I'm hearing. Obviously, I haven't been at the camps. This is what I'm hearing, is that he has just been absolutely dogging it when it comes to drills. He has been that guy. So there has been, Bear Brooks, I think, is the guy who said that, he's looking like the next Wes Welker, give him a couple years. I'm not saying all that, but I think that there's an obvious need after Pascal, right? After Pascal, I think every wide receiver spot is open. I think Pascal's probably the last guy that kind of just, he's the rounding out the top 4 that we know are going to make it. So does Britton Covey make it? Does Jalen Reagar take one of the spots? I really like Britton Covey, not only because of what I was telling you as a wide receiver. He got some snaps with the ones today in camp, in practice, or whatever you want to call it. He got some snaps with the ones as a wide receiver. He also got he also dominated, I should say, the snaps with the ones when it came to punt return, when it came to special teams. It seems like he has a knack for it. He was returning a lot of punts over the past couple days, I should say, over the past couple of practices. He's a guy I got my eye on. I said in the beginning of this, I didn't think Devin Allen really had a chance to make this roster, but I do think Britton Covey is a guy that they're really looking at, and they're really starting to get some trust in him, and I really like to see that. So I'm going to have to put him at number 2. I would love to see what happens with this guy. I would love to see him in some preseason games, see him return some punts, maybe return some kicks, see what the kid really got. So that's going to be my number 2. So far we got Jalen Reagar at number 3. And we have my guy, Britton Covey, at number 2. I'm going to throw in an honorable mention. I hope you guys don't mind. I'm going to throw in an honorable mention. And I'm going to say that it's Nakobe Dean. Now, why didn't I put him on the top 3? I think that Nakobe Dean's stock was pretty high when it came to Eagles fans. I think we were all very high on him. But I think there was a lot of NFL brass and possibly even in our organization that didn't know if this was going to be the year that he'll go out there and be a starter, go out there with the ones. Over the past couple of days at camp, it seems like he's been in with the ones, kind of entrenched with the ones. That's huge for a third round, rookie to come in here and just already during training camp kind of look like you are entrenched with those ones. So I'm excited to see what happens with them. Look, I could have said Jordan Davis, I could have said Jaquan, I could have said so many different players, right? But I'm going to go with some guys that you guys maybe aren't thinking of. So number 3, we got Jalen Reagar. Number 2, we got Britton Covey. Threw in an honorable mention with Nakobe Dean. And now we're going to get to number 1. Number one is going to be a guy I don't think a lot of people are thinking about. The Eagles are, and it's weird to even say this, the Eagles are thin at the tight end position. And this is a guy that we've had on last year, looking to have him on again this year, is Jack Stahl. Jack Stahl, when I'm talking to some of my guys that are out there at the practices, I've heard that he's kind of reinventing himself. He's trying to be more of a facet in the pass game. Obviously, last year, he was asked to be more of an inline blocker. He had, I think, like 5 or 6 catches throughout the season, but I want to point out the amount of snaps that he was playing. So during the first 8 weeks, I want to say, and don't quote me on these numbers, definitely go look them up for yourself. But the first 8 weeks, he was in there under 40% of the snaps. He wasn't going crazy. Through weeks, 8 and 17, he was in there almost 50% of snaps, and that's with Dallas Goedert healthy. That's with all these guys that we had. Obviously, early on in the season, you had Zach Ertz and Dallas Goedert. Kind of hard to get a third guy in there at the tight end spot. But Jack Stahl looks to be a guy that really is going to take advantage like he did last year. Last year, I felt like he took advantage of a tight end room that was a little bit thin. He showed his worth. He showed why he deserved to be on this team. And again, I feel like he's doing that this year. I don't feel like a lot of people are talking about him because it's not the prettiest of positions. I don't think he's, a Kyle Pitts. He's not a Dallas Goedert. He's not that type of guy. But he's a guy that I feel like is going to go in there and do the dirty work, get the job done. And that's what we need out of these Philadelphia Eagles. So, look, I think that when you look at these top 3 guys that I stated, if all of these guys can make an impact on this Philadelphia Eagles team, this is going to be a scary team. This is going to be a scary team. I will say I am probably a little bit more on the side of Jalen Reagar probably not making this team, and it's more so for what I said with Britton Covey. I think that he just offers us a little bit more, even though it's at a little bit of a later age, right? It's a cheaper contract, though. He's a little bit older. Do you want to eat that money with Jalen Reagar? That's like a whole conversation in itself. But I wanted to bring these 3 guys to the light, and I want to ask you how you guys feel. Give me some names in the comments of guys that you feel are just rising. Their stock is rising throughout this camp. I want to know. Maybe I'll make a video about the guys you guys talk about. But other than that, man, y'all know what it is. And shout out to, who was it? I want to say it was Daz Deals. Shout out to Daz Deals. I didn't do a 2-minute video. This is for you. But other than that, y'all know what it is, man. It is Fly Eagles Fly, and we are out yet. Peace!
Everywhere, this is for you.
Yeah. Fly Eagles fly on the team. Touchdown. Time to get Jalen this ring. You don't really want to start a thing. This a Bird Gang Nation, baby. It's a Philly thing. Hater, and you looking like you type trash. I'm just here calling on Philly the podcast. And we can call a man dog or watch Miles score off the handoff. Rest of the division, your man saw Jackson like Sean, hunting like Randolph. Season here, early time to do them in. Your boy Philly Fresco. Thanks for tuning in.